Stop explaining yourself. Every time you do it, you lose something. Not money, not time. Something worse. Power. You think you're clarifying. You think you're being mature. You think you're helping people understand you. You're not. You're teaching them how to question you. Every unnecessary explanation is a confession. It says, please don't think badly of me, please don't misunderstand me, please approve of my decision. And once you do that, the frame is gone. Now they are above you, and you are beneath them, performing. That is the trap. And most people live in it their entire lives. You explain why you were late. You explain why you said no. You explain why you left. You explain why you changed. You explain why you chose peace. You explain why you protected yourself. And every time, you think you're being fair. But what you're really doing is putting your own life on trial. So let me ask you something. When did your decisions become public property? When did your boundaries need a committee vote? When did your silence become a crime? It didn't. You just got trained to believe it did. Part Y, the disease. There is a hidden addiction running your life. It is not to comfort, it is not to attention, it is not even to approval, it is deeper than that. It is the addiction to being understood. That sounds noble. It sounds healthy. It sounds emotionally intelligent. But in the real world, in power dynamics, in conflict, in status games, in manipulation, it is often fatal, because the more desperate you are to be understood, the easier you are to control. Why? Because anyone who can make you explain yourself can make you doubt yourself, and anyone who can make you doubt yourself can move you. That is what most people never see. The question is not the question. The tone is the weapon. Why did you do that? Why are you acting like this? Why didn't you tell me? Why would you make that decision? Sounds harmless. Sometimes it is. But many times, it's a probe, a test, a subtle challenge to your authority over your own choices. And the moment you rush in with a paragraph, you fail it. Watch closely. Confident people may clarify. Weak people justify. Confident people state. Weak people defend. Confident people decide. Weak people explain until the room feels comfortable again. Which one are you? Be honest. Not with me. With yourself. Because if your first instinct after every decision is to soften it, package it, defend it, and make it easier for other people to digest, you are not living. You are managing reactions. And that is not freedom. That is social captivity. Part 2. The invisible courtroom. Most people do not realize they are living in a courtroom. Not a real one. A psychological one, where every move feels observed, every choice feels judged, every boundary feels like it needs evidence. So they develop a habit, a survival strategy, over-explanation. They speak before being accused, they justify before being questioned, they apologize before anyone even gets upset. Why? Because deep down, they believe someone out there has authority over their life. A parent, a partner, a boss, the internet, society, the crowd, the room, some invisible judge. And if there is a judge, then you become the defendant. That is why over-explaining feels so exhausting. Because it is not communication, it is defense. And defense is endless. You give one reason, they ask for another. You explain the context, they question your motive. You clarify your intention, they reinterpret your tone. You never win. Because the moment you agree to the trial, you already lost the position. Listen carefully. A strong person does not explain every move. A strong person chooses when to speak and when to let silence carry the weight. That is not arrogance. That is self-possession. Big difference. Arrogance screams. Self-possession stays still. Arrogance needs to dominate. Self-possession does not need permission. And if you don't learn the difference, you will either keep over-explaining or overcorrect into performance. Neither is power. Power is calm. Power is measured. Power is saying less than you could. Because you know more than you need to prove. That is where this changes. Part 3. Why people really ask why. Here is the brutal truth. Most people do not ask why because they care about your logic. They ask because they want access. Access to your motive, access to your guilt, access to your weak point. They are looking for the loose board in the fence. That is how manipulation works. Not with force, with entry points. A manipulator does not need your whole story. They just need one crack, one insecurity, one emotional trigger, one reason that can be debated. And once you give it to them, the conversation changes. Now they are not discussing your decision. They are discussing whether your decision is valid. See the shift? That shift destroys people. Because once your reasons are on the table, they become negotiable. And the moment your reasons become negotiable, your boundary becomes weak. That is why some questions leave you feeling strangely small. Not because you had no answer, because the question itself was designed to move you out of certainty. You answer. They challenge. You elaborate. They push. You defend. They interpret. And suddenly, you are working hard to justify something that was already your right. That is madness. And yet millions of people do it every day. They call it communication. It is not communication. It is surrender with eye contact. Here is the rule. If someone always needs a detailed explanation before they can respect your boundary, they do not respect your boundary. They respect access. And once access is denied, they get emotional. That emotion is not proof you were wrong. It is proof they were expecting a door to be open. Part 4. The hierarchy of speech. Every conversation has a hierarchy, not always obvious, not always intentional, but always present. Who reacts first? Who fills the silence? Who asks? Who answers? Who holds? Who folds? This is where most people give themselves away. The moment they feel pressure, they start talking. Fast, too much, too soon. And in doing so, they reveal the hierarchy. The one who rushes to explain is usually the one unconsciously asking for peace. The one who remains still is usually the one controlling the frame. That is why silence unsettles people. Because silence does not volunteer rank. It does not bow. It does not chase. It does not plead. It waits. And waiting is powerful. Try this in your own life. The next time someone asks you a loaded question, do not rush. Do nothing for 2 seconds. Just breathe. Look at them. Let the question sit there. That tiny pause will feel enormous. To you. To them. To the whole room. Because most people are addicted to immediate access. They expect instant emotional transparency, instant clarification, instant reassurance, instant surrender. When they don't get it, they become aware of themselves. And that awareness changes the energy. Now they hear their own tone. Now they feel their own entitlement. Now they start explaining the question. That is the reversal. You did not argue. You did not dominate. You did not attack. You simply refused to rush into your own defense. That alone can flip the room. Think about that. All these years, you thought power came from having the perfect answer. Sometimes, power comes from not needing to give one. Part 5. Weaponized ambiguity. The most dangerous person in the room is not always the loudest. Usually, it is the hardest to read. The one whose motives are not immediately available. The one who does not leak every thought. The one who does not narrate every emotion. The one who does not explain every move just to ease other people's discomfort. That person creates uncertainty. And uncertainty creates respect. Not always love, not always comfort, but respect. Why? Because people cannot easily manipulate what they cannot easily map. If your logic is always public, your pressure points become public too. If your motives are always visible, your next move becomes predictable. If your inner world is always on display, you become easy to steer. That is why strategic ambiguity matters. Not dishonesty, not games, not childish mystery. Strategic ambiguity. The discipline of saying only what serves the moment, nothing more. Most people overshare out of anxiety. They feel tension. They speak to reduce it. But tension is not always the enemy. Sometimes tension is proof that your boundary is working. Sometimes tension is the exact space where your authority returns. That is why you must learn to leave things unexpanded. If someone presses for motive, you do not owe them your full architecture. You can say, "It was the right move. That's how I'm handling it. The timing made sense. I made my decision." And then stop. No extra sentence. No smile to soften it. No panic-fueled paragraph after. Stop. Let the line stand on its own legs. Because every extra word after certainty often weakens it. And the people who need 10 more details? Watch them carefully. Sometimes they want understanding. Sometimes they want handles. Know the difference. Silence as a weapon. Now we come to the edge. The part most people talk about, but almost nobody can actually do. Silence. Not wounded silence. Not dramatic silence. Not punishment silence. Controlled silence. The kind that says, "I am not available for extraction." This is hard. Because silence triggers your old programming. It tells you something is wrong. It tells you to fix the mood. It tells you to repair the tension. It tells you to make sure they don't leave upset. Ignore that signal. That signal built your cage. When someone throws a loaded question at you, the old version of you panics. The new version breathes. The old version starts explaining. The new version pauses. The old version tries to be seen as fair. The new version decides whether this person even deserves access. That decision changes everything. Because silence is not emptiness. Silence is a test. Who gets uncomfortable first? Who starts backtracking? Who starts talking more? Who starts revealing the real reason they asked? Watch. If you hold silence for 3 to 5 seconds after an intrusive question, something almost always happens. They begin to explain themselves. "I just meant. I was only asking. I didn't mean it like that." Exactly. Now they are the one managing the tension. Now they are the one trying to regain the frame. Now you can see the motive. That is why silence is a scalpel. It cuts away performance. It exposes intention. And it does all of that without a single speech. Master this, and your entire social reality changes. Part 7. Kill the nice guy. Let's be honest. The urge to explain yourself is not always logic. A lot of the time, it is fear. Fear of being disliked. Fear of being misunderstood. Fear of being seen as selfish. Fear of being the villain. So you overcompensate. You explain to prove you're good. You explain to prove you're fair. You explain to prove you didn't mean harm. You explain so nobody can accuse you of being cold. And that is exactly why people keep testing you. Because they can feel it. They can feel that you need to be seen a certain way. And anyone who needs to be seen as good can be controlled through guilt. That is the nice guy prison. Not kindness. Not character. Dependency on approval. And it is expensive. It makes you betray your own instincts. It makes you soften clear boundaries. It makes you confuse being digestible with being virtuous. Listen carefully. You do not become powerful by becoming cruel. You become powerful by becoming unhookable. That is different. Cruel people react. Powerful people choose. Cruel people dominate to feel safe. Powerful people don't need to explain safety into existence. The part of you that needs everyone to understand your heart before you can stand on your decision, that part must die. Not your empathy, not your conscience, not your humanity, your compulsion, your need to be approved before you can be solid. If one disappointed face makes you betray your own clarity, you are still ruled by the room. And if you are ruled by the room, you do not have sovereignty, you have theater. Part 8. The 24-hour test. Want to know how deep this conditioning goes? Try one experiment. For the next 24 hours, remove one word from personal interactions. Because that word, that innocent little bridge, that verbal reflex, cut it out. Not from teaching, not from work, not from useful information, from self-defense. When someone asks why you declined, don't say because. When someone asks why you changed, don't say because. When someone asks why you left, don't say because, just state the decision. I'm not doing that, I changed my mind. That no longer works for me, I've made my choice, I'm not available. And then be still, feel the panic. Feel the impulse to add one more sentence. Then another, then another. That panic is not wisdom, it is withdrawal. Withdrawal from the addiction to over-justification. Stay with it, because on the other side of that discomfort is weight. Your words hit harder. Your boundaries sound cleaner. Your presence feels different. Why? Because certainty without excess language feels expensive. And expensive things are treated carefully. That is human nature. You don't need to become louder. You need to become harder to move. Part 9. Sovereignty. At the deepest level, this is about one thing: ownership. If you constantly explain your life to others, you slowly start seeing your life through their eyes. You stop asking, "What do I know is right?" and start asking, "How can I make this easier for them to accept?" That is how people lose themselves. Not all at once, a little at a time. One softened truth, one over-explained boundary, one unnecessary defense, one apology for existing clearly. Then one day they wake up exhausted, not because life broke them, because they have been translating themselves for an audience that never stops asking for more. Sovereignty is the end of that cycle. Sovereignty means, if you fail, you own it. You fix it. You move. You don't build a speech around it. If you win, you enjoy it. You don't shrink it to keep insecure people comfortable. If you decide, you stand in it. You don't drag your instincts into public court for review. That is freedom, not chaos, not selfishness, not rebellion for show. Inner authority. The kind that does not need applause. The kind that does not collapse under someone else's confusion. The kind that can survive being misunderstood. Because that is the real test. Can you remain whole? When someone does not like your answer, can you remain calm? When someone wants more access than they deserve, can you stay still? When the old version of you wants to rush in and explain, that is the threshold. Cross it, and your life changes. Part 10. The new rule. From this point on, remember this: not every question deserves an answer. Not every person deserves your motive. Not every challenge deserves your energy. Not every discomfort needs to be repaired. Some things become powerful the moment you stop over-serving them. Your reasons, your boundaries, your timing, your no, your exit, your silence. These belong to you, and once you stop giving them away for free, people will feel the change before they understand it. They will hear it in your shorter answers. They will see it in your face. They will feel it in the pause. They will notice that your energy no longer says, "Please agree." Now it says, "I said what I said." That is when the hierarchy changes. Not because you attacked. Because you stopped volunteering your neck. Not because you became someone else. Because you stopped leaking yourself to everyone. Not because you got louder. Because you got still. And stillness, in a noisy world, is terrifying to weak people. Good. Let it be. You have spent too long explaining yourself to people who were never qualified to audit your existence. Too long trying to sound innocent. Too long trying to sound fair. Too long trying to sound harmless. And what did it get you? Respect? Not enough. Peace? Not really. Understanding? Only from the rare few who didn't need the explanation in the first place. So end it. Today. In the next conversation, in the next loaded question, in the next moment someone tries to make your decision sound negotiable. Pause. Look at them. Breathe once. Then answer with less. Or don't answer at all. Feel that pressure? That is not danger. That is your power returning. The weak will think this is cold. The manipulative will think this is rude. The entitled will think this is unfair. Ignore them. People protest the boundary that blocks their access. Now you know the game. Now you know the cost. Now you know why silence unsettles them. Because silence says something your explanations never could. It says, I do not exist for your comfort. I do not owe you my inner files. I made my decision. You can react to it. You cannot own it. So the next time they ask, why did you do that? Maybe you say, because it was the right move. Or maybe you say nothing at all. And let them sit in the sound of a door that no longer opens on command. If this hits you, don't just nod. Commit. Subscribe if you are done being the person who explains everything and gets respected for nothing. Hit the bell if you are building a mind people cannot casually invade. And in the comments, I want one line. Not for me, for you. Right. I am the architect. Because the moment you stop explaining your life to people who never earned authority over it, the frame changes. The energy changes. The room changes. And eventually, you change. So decide. Are you the wolf? Or are you still volunteering to be the meal?